Edhe ashtu si që kemi paralajmëruar, pra në linjë direkte me neve është zonja Anna DiLellio, profesoresha akademike, e cila tash së funi ka shkruar edhe një nga tekstet e fundit që ka të bëj pra me Mariupol, ju tregova edhe më herët. Anna, good morning and thank you for finding time to talk to me and to us again. Mariupol Ultima Resistenza is the last piece, pra Mariupol Resistenza fundit. Pse është kaq e rëndësishme Mariupol? What do you mean when you say maybe they will lose but on a long term they will win? Pra Ana në këtë tekst nëse lexoni e ka argumenti duke përmendur ato raste tjera që ndoshta në aspektin ushtarak do të humb Mariupolin, por ai do të bëhet një mit edhe një gur themel, një bazament për shtetin e ri të Ukrainës. Good morning, Anna. You look great.
Good morning. Good morning. What do I mean? I mean that the Russians have already taken Mariupol. Fundamentally, they've taken the city. There is only one small group that defends Mariupol. At this point, they defend themselves in a factory, metallurgic factory, and they probably will at one point have to surrender when they run out of ammunition, when they are overwhelmed. But they're still not surrendering, and this is one of those episodes of last stand, the last resistance, se qëndrimi fundit. When I looked at it, I just thought about other examples in history, and something is very close to you, to your history, is the resistance of the Yashari in Prekas. That was also a last stand, a last resistance. And all these moments become very mythical afterwards because they become part of history, but also part of the imagination of people. They make them foundational. Mariupol will be really the strongest symbol of the resistance of the Ukrainian people against Russian offensive. And for now, they're also distracting a little bit the Russians from the major offensive that instead is happening in Donbass. The same happened with the Yashari in Kosovo.
Po, do me thonë, Mariupoli po bëhet është rezistenca e fundit. Kjo është teksti i fundit në La Foglia, gazetën cilën Ana edhe cilën e kemi bërë share, sepse vetëm një ekip apo një grup e ushtarëve janë të bllokuar apo janë duke rezistuar në fabrikën e metalurgjisë në Mariupol, dhe ata natyrisht që nëse nuk kanë akses në ndihmë, nuk shkojnë armët, në një moment do të mbesin pa arma tim, dhe kjo do të bëhet një simbol. Ju e keni më shumë afër zemrës çështjen apo rastin apo epopejën e UÇK-s të Adem Jasharit, i cili për 3 ditë së bashku me gjithë familjen rezistoi, dhe faktikisht ajo ngjarje u shndrua në një gur themel, një bazament, foundation për krijimin e UÇK-s dhe rrjedhimisht edhe të Republikës së Kosovës. We are entering day 55 of the war. Why the war lasted so long, Anna? And do we because there are rumors, and when I talk to people here, you know, Albanians love conspiracies and know everything. They say Russia is not using the whole capacity. Pra pse po zgjat lufta ka shumë dita 55, kur bisedoj me shqiptarët të rrugëve, thonë se Rusia s'pe përdor as 10% të kapacitetit, s'po don, po e unë mendoj ndryshe. Pra çka ka ndodhur, Ana? Why the war is so long?
Let me try in Albanian a little bit this one. Lufta zgjati kaq shumë sepse ushtria ruse është pa përgatitur, demoralizuar edhe korruptuar. Në anën tjetër, populli Ukrainës është shumë më trim, kanë vendosur të qëndrojnë, edhe kanë luftuar shumë fort. This is the reason why the war is lasting. There is no conspiracy.
No conspiracy. Russia is putting all capacities.
Yes, all capacities.
Let's...
Or the latest news that I read, there is a lot of firing now around the Kremlin and in the military sphere, because, for instance, this is one example. Putin was reassured that one motorized company was staffed 100%, and instead only 55% of the people were there. And where did the money go that the generals or the high rank got to to pay for 100% of their staff when instead they only had 55%. They don't even know what they have there. There are many episodes like that. It's a corrupt army. It's a demoralized country. People don't want to fight. They are not prepared. They don't even know how to fly, many planes. Like NATO has a lot of experience of flying many planes at once. The last time in Kosovo, we saw that. But the Russians only can fly 2 planes at once. They can't really launch a major offensive. They're not prepared. They're not capable, and they're corrupt.
Po, pra, është rasti kur, domethënë, e ndëgjuat edhe në gjuhën shqipe, ushtria ruse është duke shfrytzuar këtë kapacitetet, por është demoralizuar, është e korruptuar, rasti kur një shumë general po shkarkohen, bile edhe ministri i mbrojtjes është dukur, sepse në një rast generali ka marrë lekt për pagat e ushtarëve për 100%, ndërkaq aty kanë qenë vetëm 50%. Dhe kjo është arsyeja pse Ukraina apo rusët po dështojnë. We go back to Mariupol, who is still standing. I remember as a teenager or young adult listening to the news in RTS when the war in Croatia was Vukovar, 7 months I think resisted. Every evening RTS, the main propaganda machine of Milosevic, would say Vukovar is liberated, Vukovar is ours. But at 2 after midnight I was listening on AM radio Zagreb in Croatian, and Jastreb, who is Sokol or Eagle, how to say his nickname, commander of Vukovar, would say, no, we are here still. Po ma përkujton rastin e Vukovarit, kur 90-tave RTS-i çdo mramje për 7 muaj ditë thoshte e çliruam, morëm Vukovarin, kurse në 2 pas mesnatës lajmëroi komandanti Jastrebi, komandanti Sokoli, i cili thoshte jo, Vukovari është anë tonë. And Vukovar became kind of symbol of Domovinsko Krata or motherland protecting war in Croatia.
Yes,
as Prekozy, yeah.
These are very important symbols, and every war needs symbols because these people are desperate. Symbol of courage and resistance until the end, until death, are very important. These are people that then will die now, and they will become immortal in the imagination of the nation, like the Yashari. They never die because everyone always remembers them and they celebrate it because they are, in a way, really symbol of the nation that resists. And that's the reason why Mariupol is also important. I wouldn't call it propaganda war, but it's the symbolic war that always goes on with the war in the battle. And now remember also that also with the Yashari, they had to resist because they couldn't go anywhere else. The legend that the Yashari could have left the children, let the women and the children go and save themselves. Sometimes I hear these comments. It was impossible because when we are in this situation, you don't let anyone out because they will be killed, they will be raped, they will be killed. So this is what's happening in Mariupol. They can't leave. They also don't let them leave. I heard on CNN, very good reporting, that some of the people who left Mariupol, at one point they let 2,000 people leave. They were Russian speakers, they were Russians. They never let any Ukrainian leave Mariupol. They strangled Mariupol, they don't let people leave. Some want to stay and fight, the fighters. Others cannot leave. And they're forced to stay there. And they will be martyrs at the end. And the Russians who kill them will be criminals of war forever.
Po Mariupoli pra është do të shndrohet në një simbol, nuk është kjo çështje e propagandës, por me simbole krijohet edhe janë martir, krijohet edhe shteti, është një element I rëndësishëm për krijimin e kombit, sikurse ne me jasharët e di që ndëgjojmë shpeshherë këtu, ndonjëherë jo se jasharët ka shumë të lshu familjen jashtë, po ka dashur të sakrifikohet, më sa të thash, por nuk është e vërtetë. Ai I ka marrë më anë sepse nëse kanë dalë jashtë, I kanë vrarë, I kanë dhunuar, I kanë atakuar, dhe e njëjta ndodhi me Mariupol. Për shembull 2000 civil që kanë dalë ishin rus, kurse mbi 100.000 që janë brenda të bllokuar, edhe nëse dëshirojnë të dalin, nuk po lejohen. Furthermore, që po ndëgjojmë edhe Ana ka ndëgjuar edhe nga CNN e po adhone. Moreover, there are news coming that thousands of children are being abducted and sent to Russia and they are being spread to the family, adopted to the families, even though majority of them are not orphans, which is something I cannot understand how the Russian society is. Maybe they don't know, but we had the phone call of the soldier talking to her girlfriend, asking for permission to rape. What's happening with Russia, which gave us so much big names, Sakharov, Kasparov, Dostoevsky, Tolstoy? Why they are not rising up, even though I see occasional cases? Qa mundohet me rusët që na kanë dhënë shumë gjëra të mira, nuk po e nalin gjithë këtë, dini rastin pra të atij incizimit kur ushtari rus e thret femnën e vet për ta pyetur a ma jep lejen për ta dhunuar një vajzë ukrainase të cilën e kanë aty përpara.
Okay, there are two things. One, all these crimes that you are describing are really serious. And if I invite everybody to go and read the Convention on Genocide of 1948, taking children away from one group and taking possessions of them is one of the crimes of genocide. Like rapes in the way the Russians are doing, like they did in Kosovo, like the Serbs did in Kosovo, they did in Bosnia. It's very serious and it's a crime of genocide, especially when you hear what they say when they rape them. We rape you so you will not have more Ukrainian children. These are all crimes that make the life of a group, in this case, Ukrainian, impossible. They make it impossible for them to live and survive as a community. That's one thing. The other, you say, what happened with Russia? Well, Russia is a dictatorship in a sense. Well, a dictator is a very, or if you prefer, more precisely, is an authoritarian state with very, very strong police control. And rebelling in Russia is very, very difficult. It's very difficult, so people don't do openly. When they do, the very courageous ones are put in jail. And then a majority of Russians who only get the news from television are really on the side of Putin. And one thing is really surprising me in this war is the news that I read that the soldiers, Russian soldiers who get to Ukraine, are surprised that Ukraine is so rich. Now we see the houses they're bombed. They're not rich. They're not rich by any European standard, by any standard. But this is the same thing that happened in 1945. So I wonder when the Russians went to Berlin, and they arrived there and say, oh, these people are so rich. They even stole toilets. I'd never seen a toilet before. So I'm wondering, how poor are these Russians who think the Ukrainians are rich and they don't understand what they're doing because they only hear the messages of Putin, very controlled messages on television and radio. Those who don't have internet, those who are not that educated, those who are not part of the elites in Moscow. And the elites are afraid. Many have left, and the others are afraid to be in jail, we don't know in what conditions, for years. That's why there is protest.
Ja, të dy çështje, e para ka të bëjë me krimet, ne po shohim që po ndodhen njëjta sikurse edhe në Bosnjë dhe në Kroaci, pra dhunimi është pjesë një krim që e përmbledh një farë mënyre një gjenocid, sepse arsyetimi pse po dhunojnë femnat ukrainase është që ata të mos lindin ma ukrainat, po të lindin rus, dhe nga vetë fakti që krimet po zbulohen gjithnjë më shumë tregon se është një njëjti veprim apo modeli i operimit sikurse me serbët apo Serbia që ka bërë në Kosovë, në Bosnjë dhe në Kroaci. Çështja e dytë ka të bëjë pra me Rusinë. Rusia është një shtet diktatorial, autoritativ dhe ata pak njerëz të cilët kanë guximin dhe kanë njohurinë për të protestuar, po arrestohen, shumë kanë ikur, kurse në anën tjetër ka dhe rusë të cilët e përkrajnë gjithë këtë. Për më shumë është çuditëse se si kur kanë ardhur në Ukrainë kanë pasur se sa e pasur është Ukraina, kur nuk është edhe shumë e pasur apo nuk është e pasur fare. Kjo tregon se sa të varfër fakti në rusët. Ngjashëm si në 45 kur kanë në Berlin dhe i kanë po gjermanët, ja kanë marrë edhe toilet, do me thonë, guacën e WC-së, s'kan po kur. Anna, last question. What do you think? There's this analyze and political experts are saying that if Putin takes Mariupol, then the war will end and he will have a justification and say to its people, yeah, this special operation, as they call it, it's over. Pra, ka edhe fjalë të cilat deklarojnë se kur bjen Mariupolli, Putini do të ndalet dhe do ta shes këtë para qytetarëve të vet si sukses. Ja, operacioni ynë përfundoi me sukses. Ky është qëllimi jon, nuk është qëllimi jon që ta okupojmë Ukrainën. Will Putin stop if he takes Mariupol?
Well, that we don't know when Putin will stop, but another suggestion that I give you and your audience, check the website of the Institute for the Study of War. It's really excellent. It gives day by day a really good account of the movement of Russian troops and their success, of their setbacks. What they are saying is that the Russians are not being successful in Donbass. They are waging small attacks and they're always stopped by the Ukrainians. Also because they are not prepared and the troops are demoralized. Now, we don't know what happens now if they all concentrate on Donbass, but there is a very strong resistance there. So can Putin say, I won the war because I took Mariupol? No. First of all, he hasn't gotten it yet. And second of all, what he gets with Mariupol is just a connection of a little piece of land in Donbass with Crimea. But he doesn't have Donbass yet. And Mariupol, unfortunately, is as unlucky as Srebrenica because it finds itself in between the two pieces of territories that the aggressors want to connect.
Fillimisht nuk e dim a do të ndalet Putini nëse e merr Mariupolin. Mariupoli është vetëm një pikë e Donbasit dhe e lidh Krimean me Rusinë kështu në tokë. Një fat i keq për Mariupolin është që ngjashëm si Srebrenica në të dy anët është rrethkuar nga forcat okupatore, nga armiqt, në rastin e Srebrenicës nga serbët, në rastin e Mariupolit nga rusët, por ajo është vetëm një copë e vogël nga Donbasi dhe duke ditur që sot ka filluar ofanziva e madhe, natyrisht edhe ukrainacit janë duke rezistuar shumë. Okay, Anna, $1 million question at the end. We finish interviews like this always. What next? I read the other piece that you did with the Irish professor about the lack of UN to intervene, and I had some fighting debate on Twitter with some pro saying, "Oh, you did illegally in Kosovo 23 years ago." How this will end, you think, and obviously the world will not be the same after this, but will it be better or worse? $1 million question, I said. You want to be a millionaire.
If you have $1 million, I might try to answer.
But you cannot call a friend.
You don't. Well, I don't know what the world will be, but it certainly will be a different world, because when Russia will perhaps achieve some victory in Ukraine, like we'll get some territory, but it really loses in the long run because it's an isolated country with a very now shaky economy. If Europe really manages to become independent from their gas, it would be a great victory from Europe, and that would be a big change. Russia is already a poor country. The GDP of Russia is as big as Spain. Spain is not even as rich as Italy, which is like really a fraction of Russian greatness, territory, and population. So I don't know what will happen to Russia, and then we have to see how China positions itself. If it attempts something in Taiwan, all the equilibrium that we had so far has been shaken. So what will happen, it will be a change. In which direction? It depends also on what we do. I mean, we the West do. And I can say we the West because I'm on the Western side. I take sides in this war. I'm not neutral, I'm not pacifist. So it depends on what we do, on what Europe and the United States do.
Definitivisht është një pyetje e $1 milion që nuk e dim çka do ndodh, por bota do të ndryshoj për të mirë apo për të keq, mbetet shihet. Un jam me perëndimin, nuk jam pis edhe të mos mbaj on, dhe shpresojmë që do të fiton ona jon. Ona, if you don't have anything else to add, thank you very much. Have a lovely day and week, and you look splendid as always. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
To you.
Bye-bye. Ishim Anna DiLellio.